Hello, Leah. This is Mr. Barr speaking. Let's look at the flip chart, page 1, the first page in flip chart. Dividing polynomials is a lot like dividing real numbers. You do know how to divide a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number, I assume. And the way we do that, what we do is we look at the 3. We say, how many times will 3 go into 7? And we say it's 2 times. 2 times 34 is 68, and then we subtract. And we get 10. We bring down the 6. And then we say 34 into 106 goes how many times? To do that, you say, how many times will 3 go into 10? Well, 3 goes into 10 about 3 times. 3 times 34 is 102, and you subtract and you get 4. That's how we do regular division. Let's take a look at division of algebraic expressions. We do the same thing. Let's take a look at this problem here. We have x minus 4 into x squared minus 3x minus 4. The first thing we do is we take a look at this right here, x. How many times will x go into x squared? It goes x times. Or you're saying, what times x gives you x squared? Just x. X times. Now you have to multiply x times this whole quantity here. So we say x times x is x squared, and x times negative 4 is negative 4x. And then you have to subtract, but you're subtracting this whole quantity. So you have to change the sign. This is a positive sign, so this becomes a negative sign. And since this is negative, this becomes a positive sign, because this means the opposite of this quantity. So now we have 4x plus a negative 3x is an x. The next step we do in this problem, in this step down here, is we bring down the negative 4. You always bring down the sign along with the number. So the negative came down with the 4. So now we have a new expression, x minus 4. So you ask yourself, how many times will x go into x minus 4? It'll go 1 time. 1 times x minus 4 is x minus 4. And then we have to subtract. To subtract, we add the opposite of those. So this becomes a negative sign, and this becomes a positive sign. And since these are opposites, your remainder is 0. Let's go on to the next page. Let's try this one. Forget this up here, that was a mistake. 4x plus 1 into 8x squared plus 6x plus 3. So once again, 4x goes into 8x squared how many times? Or what times 4x is 8x squared? 2x. 2x times 4x is 8x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. Remember, you have to multiply it by this whole quantity, whatever this is. Now we've multiplied it, we have to subtract. But remember, you're subtracting this whole thing here. So this means the opposite of what's inside there, like you've learned before. This is the opposite of negative 8x squared, and this is negative 2x. Now we subtract. 8x minus 8x squared is 0, and we have 6x minus 2x is 4x. Bring down the next number along with the sign that's in front of it. New expression, 4x plus 1 into 4x plus 3. You're saying how many times will 4x go, or what times 4x gives you 4x? Well, obviously it's 1. Now remember, you have to multiply this times this whole quantity here. 1 times 4x plus 1 is 4x plus 1. Then you have to subtract. Remember, you're subtracting that whole quantity. But to do that, you have to change this positive sign to a negative and this positive sign to a negative. So these cancel because they're opposites. And 3 minus 1 is 2. So to find your final answer, you have to put the 2 over the divisor, just like you do in regular division. So your final answer is 2x plus 1 plus 2 over 4x plus 1. Now this next problem is a little bit different in that you have to arrange them first in descending order. Notice how the n squared is the second term and the negative 6 the first term. So look what I've done here. I've taken them and arranged them in descending order. Be careful of the sign. The signs go with the number. So this is n squared plus 5n minus 6 divided by n plus 6. So same idea. What times n gives you n squared? Just an n. N times the whole quantity, n plus 6 is n squared plus 6n. Subtract. Remember, you're subtracting a quantity. So this becomes a negative sign. This becomes a negative sign. And 5n plus a negative 6n is the opposite of n. Bring down. Remember, bring down this whole sign, or the sign in front of the number. So now we have negative n minus 6. How many times will n go into negative n, or the opposite of n? Well, it goes negative 1 time, because negative 1 times n is, if you will, negative n. Okay? Negative 1 times positive 6 is negative 6. Now we have to subtract. So remember, sign around there. Opposite of this group, this becomes a positive, that becomes a positive, and you get a 0 as a remainder. So your final answer is n minus 1. So now this is a little bit different. Notice that on this one we only have a power of 3. Now when you do polynomial division, you just have to have all the powers represented from 2a cubed, or a cubed, all the way down to the constant. So you just add these powers, and it doesn't really change the problem, because 0a squared is 0, and 0 times a is 0 also. But you need the powers represented, and this of course is the power of 1. And then you just do the same thing as you did before. I'll do it one more time. A times what is 2a cubed? Well, 2a squared. 2a squared times a is 2a cubed. 2a squared times negative 3 is negative 6a squared. Subtract, remember once again, group, subtract. This becomes a negative. This becomes a positive. 0a squared plus 6a squared is 6a squared. Bring down the next term, which is 0a. How many times will a go into 6a squared? Or you're asking yourself, what times a is 6a squared? Well, it's just 6a. 6a times a is 6a squared. 6a times negative 3 is negative 18a. Grouping, because we have to subtract that whole thing. This becomes a negative sign. This becomes a positive sign. These cancel out, and you get 18a as your difference, or in this case, is your sum. Bring down to 5, divide again. What times a is 18a? Well, 18. 18 times this is 18a. 18 times 3 is negative 54. Don't forget this sign here. Don't forget grouping this, because it's a single number after you find out what a is. Subtract. This becomes a negative 18a, and these cancel out. This becomes a positive 54. Add them together, and you get 59. Take this, put it over your divisor, and your final answer then is this right here. And that is basically all you have to do in this assignment. They all work the same. So I hope this has helped you. If not, email me and let me know, and I'll try something else, okay?